Thank you for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I'm excited about my next guest. I mean, we really have almost had a whole interview before we push record. But I have Stephanie here. We have connected through Clubhouse, and I'm so excited about our interview, all the things that we have had in common, just from this short time before push and record that we find out that we had in common. But before we get into all these different topics, I want to give her the opportunity to tell a few words about herself.
Well, look, as you know, I like to call you Miss America Supermom. We have had a whole conversation. I mean, y'all don't know, y'all miss some good stuff. This is the before party, is like the after party. But I am Stephanie Wall, and listen, this in Clubhouse tradition. I'm
Mhm.
Stephanie Wall, the CEO of Speaker Stephanie LLC, and what I do is I dismantle limited beliefs for
Mhm.
specifically women who've experienced trauma, so
Mhm.
that they can grow majorly and move on and experience life as authentically as they can, because they deserve everything, and everything is theirs to have.
I
And this
love
is what I
that.
do.
Now, so how did you get into that? I mean, you had me at the limiting beliefs
Girl,
because so often as women, we all struggle with that, from moms to business owners, everything, you name it. So, how did you get into this type of work?
it's funny because I doing one of the things that I know for sure, and I've heard it 1,000 times. I'm sure I heard it somewhere because I've been to 1,000 trainings, but it holds true with me.
Hmm.
Everything that we are, everything we begin to do is a result of something that we needed. I got into it because I had
Hmm.
my own limiting beliefs.
Hmm.
Because like a lot of other people. Okay, so let me just
Hmm.
run down the litany of who I am. See, what you see is what you get, but you can't judge this book by its cover. As most
Amen.
people know, right? Everybody got look. They'll say, "I want to be just like you." You know what I say? Okay, well, in order to be who I am today, you have to survive who I was yesterday,
Yesterday.
right? And I
Amen.
don't even some things I look back and say, "Girl, how did I survive it?" Right? So this is the thing. All right. So I, at 17, had a baby
Hmm.
right there. For some people, 17, they're like, oh, okay, why, baby? 15, 16, 17. Well, in my world, people looked at you and they were like, they shunned you. They talked to them to
Right.
date. As soon as folks see my oldest son, who stands 6'3", and he's like,
Hmm.
Mom, they're like, whose son is that? Like, is that your son?
Hmm.
Yes, it's my
Hmm.
son. I gave birth to him 9 months, no charge, as the old song says, right?
Amen.
Look, but I had a baby. So that meant that I missed my entire senior year, right?
Mm.
Got in trouble. They said, you know what? How about when you become when you are in a place where people have already labeled you, sometimes
Right.
you almost rise to it, right? You believe you can't
Exactly.
have more, so you start acting like you can have more, and you don't
So
like
true.
yourself. So that's where it was in my life, and so I had to go from I'm living like everybody else. I'm getting ready. I'm in my junior year, senior year. Boom! I got baby.
Mhm.
I'm pregnant. I'm this. I'm that. Sorry, you can't come back here. Maybe next year. Maybe whatever. So I left there and I went and got my GED. Let me tell you right
Mhm.
now, it would have been harder for me to see. It would have been easier rather to see my way through high school than it was for me to get that GED. Okay, it
Wow.
was expected for me to know some things. I hadn't taken classes. Some classes that most high school students don't actually need to graduate, but to get a GED, you're required to
Uh,
know a little bit of it.
yeah,
Is that crazy? But that
that's
so you
true.
have that. All right, so you got your limiting beliefs. You believe that you can be no more. I believe I'm going. This is all I'm all going to be.
Mhm.
I've been labeled a high school dropout.
Mhm.
I've been labeled. You're just a baby maker.
Mm.
I got one son. What is going on here? Right?
Mhm.
Listen, lived on the wrong side of the tracks.
Mhm.
You had the wrong situation. Everybody drinking, and when I grew up, all I knew is what I saw.
Exactly.
Folks fighting and domestic violence and normalizing
Mhm.
things that shouldn't be normalized. And
Mhm.
so I had all these limited beliefs. And so I believed that I didn't deserve a whole lot of things. It took a
Mm.
very long time. I wish there was a Stephanie or a speaker Stephanie back in my life
Amen.
when I was 16, 17, 15, 13, even, but
Amen.
particularly in my 20s and my 30s to say, you know what? So you had a baby?
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. So what do you want to do? As soon as the negative or I can't came out, they'd be like, oh no, ma'am. Oh no, man. Let me tell you what you
Mm-hmm.
can do. Let me give you
Mm-hmm.
some opportunities. Let me tell you what. Let me just go ahead and knock down this limited belief for you. Let me help you
Mm-hmm.
see yourself as I see you.
Right.
And see
So
this, and
true.
so from that, because of that, and once I realized, once I found my way, and I realized when I look back, like you're always angry when you find your way, right? You look back,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had known this a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I've decided that first it was like, you praying for what's your passion. You talking to God about what's your passion, what's your purpose, and all that good stuff. And we always going, as I told my husband the other day, we always going right when the Lord said go left. See, I thought I was supposed to do all of this over here, but what he really said was, Stephanie, go back and get the rest of the Stephanies.
It's so true.
Go back
Because
and get
they understand the language you're talking.
that. Listen, and I on my, as I told you about my earned income, on my earned
Mm-hmm.
income job. One thing I love about it is that they, even before starting it, they want you to take an assessment
Mm-hmm.
to your strengths and your weaknesses. And they literally, just to confirm that they are putting you in a position that they think you're good at, but they confirm it by doing an assessment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Baby, I was like, what an assessment? Okay, but roll through it, right? We're talking the Briggs and
Mm-hmm.
Gallup, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the assessment speaks to who I am to the nine. I mean, boom, I'm like, yep, that's me. And that is where I work in. But here's the deal. While one day I was just literally sitting there and I said, was having a conversation with a co-worker and we're having lunch. And I said, in front of the big boss, I was just like talking to her about my passion to help. There's now in my old high school, there's now
Mm-hmm.
a teen parenting center. So
Wow.
that no more will you kicked out of the system. Now you bring you and the baby to
Go to
school. The
school.
parent,
Yeah.
the whoever, the father and the mother, they're gonna make sure you're gonna graduate. They have a daycare center in the school
Wow.
until the child turns 3. And when I found out about it, it just absolutely just lit my heart, just fluttered because that wasn't
Right.
there.
Right.
Those opportunities weren't there. And
Absolutely.
right. And so I reached out to the person that ran it to see how I could best support it. And as
Mm-hmm.
she was telling me about what her needs, I'm writing down. She has no idea what I do and where I work. So I'm writing down and I'm telling her about how I'm getting ready to step in full-fledged and everything and in my being and every resource. And I have a lot of them is coming with me. And
Mm-hmm.
he looked over and all he heard me say was, this is important to me. He was like, what are you all talking about? And she was like, oh, Stephanie's talking about blah blah. And he was like, I said, it's a program, and I'm explaining it's called a team. And he looked at her, and she is my direct report, my direct supervisor, which is
Mm-hmm.
funny. My top 10 character leadership qualities is her bottom 10. So we are
Okay.
complete opposites, right?
Right.
And she looked at her and he said, "It is then put everything we have on that particular program. I want you to reach out and support that and give everybody da, 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 da." Bam." And
Opening up your mouth. You see what I'm
you
saying?
see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
this is what is all of us have the ability to change the world by
Mm-hmm.
changing your space.
Mm-hmm.
And look, everybody talk about it, but I promise you, if you see me today, if you see me first thing in the morning tomorrow, if you see me next week, next year, I'm gonna be the same person you met today and yesterday and the day before. You follow what I'm saying? Nothing changes.
Amen.
And I'm so passionate about it. So with
Mm-hmm.
that, and it's just not passionate about what speaker Stephanie, it's who I am.
Amen.
So
Mm-hmm.
if my husband was in there, he'd be like, Lord, yes, it is who she is. Because I want to change. There's women, we have so much power.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us know it, but most of us don't.
So true. Now, so how do you deal with you're in this environment where you understand because you were there and you come across the people that just don't see? Because I always say I'd struggled with depression for 13 years and 3 hospitalizations. And it's like, if I had a seen this before, I wouldn't have had that journey. But then I have this nagging thought that I was hard headed. people were talking to me, but I just didn't hear it. I couldn't listen. So for people who are just at that point, what do you say to them? Where you feel like they just don't get it.
So I'm going to tell you that, like, most of it, because when I tell people my story,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, come in, you tell them who you are, whatever. But when I tell them my story, and I tell them about, and folks can relate when you can talk about where they sitting at right there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I go into the high school, so I just went into that high school. I said,
Mm-hmm.
so you look, I let them know I attended this school right here. I
Mm-hmm.
told them about when when I tell them, I literally tell them about how I was afraid to tell my mother I was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
I told them about how once I told I was pregnant, how she started crying. I told them about how my relatives, some of them was like told their daughters,
Not
hang,
to hang out with you.
don't hang with her. So I was
Mm-hmm.
dismissed by my own family.
Mm-hmm.
I told them about how oh my goodness, I wanted to keep my family. I thought if I had this baby because this person said they love me and I had to have this baby and and we're gonna be together forever and ever and ever. I talk about how I allowed this person, right, this relationship to keep going on, even though this person was no good for me. I
Right.
tell them about how when I normally start a talk, and when I go talk, and my power talk is this. Listen, domestic violence almost took my life,
Wow.
and now I'm called to save yours.
That will definitely get people on the right page. Okay.
Okay. And
I
I
love
tell them,
that.
yeah, I tell them the journey. I tell them, listen,
Yeah.
this is where it starts. Well, first of all, because and I ask them, I tell them my story, and then I ask them questions. Because here's the deal: no matter whether it's because I'm a speaker and a coach, whether I'm doing a talk in front of 10 to hundreds of women, the conversation is always going to be about beliefs. Listen, we all have
Mhm.
beliefs, and you have to ask yourself the same 4 questions. What do I believe about this situation?
Mhm.
Where did that belief come from?
Mhm.
How would my life change if I believe something different?
Mhm.
And how can I change it? Because
That.
it really is right between the ears, right? Because
Yeah.
when you think about nothing, I mean, how many and my people and our people, right? Sometimes we got to take them to show them a picture. And my sister,
Mhm.
and my best friend, I'm going to take her on vacation. And and I love her to life. And because now she's living with MS, I don't know how much longer I have my baby sister. So I'm making it my
Right.
life's mission to take her places she's never been before. She's gonna put her feet down on the ground as long as I have
Amen.
air in my body. You understand me?
Yeah.
And I talk to her every now and again. She has a limited belief, and I have to bring her back. And she was
Yeah.
like, I can't do that. And I said, remember, how folks talk about, like, back in the day, folks were like, nobody was going on. Cruises. What was a cruise? If you had no money, cruise, that was for other people, right?
Right.
If you wanted to do something, whatever it was, whatever the big thing was, you
Mhm.
would save up, lay away, make
Mhm.
payments, whatever you had to do, but you would get that thing or get there.
Yeah.
And the only difference is you at some point decided that you was going to have it, and you could see yourself doing it.
Mhm.
This morning on my platform called Her Story, Our Story, 1 Hour of Power, I said to
Mhm.
them, what's your plan?
Mhm.
Everybody talks about, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. What's your plan?
Amen.
And so I'm going to tell you that I have to make sure that when you crash it down, it's just this. Look, give them a little win. You tell them, all right, what is that one? What's the one thing you've always wanted to do?
Mhm.
And I just start asking questions.
That is so
What's
good.
stopping you?
Yeah.
What's stopping you?
Mhm. I
And
love
so it's
that.
like, I don't have no money. Well, what's keeping you from having money?
Right.
Well, I don't have any babysitter. Well, what would change if you had a babysitter? I would
Mm.
go. You follow what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to
Yep.
help people process that thing.
So true. Because it's not just a A to B. It's so many steps in between. Now, one of the things that comes up for me as you're talking is, how did you get out of that cycle? Because it's when you have that belief, it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. That's one thing. Then I always tell people, I got tired of the story that I was
Yes.
myself. You know what
That's
I
it.
mean? It was just like, I'm lying to myself, and that's the conflict. Nobody else is the conflict. It's me lying to myself, lying to other people about this story that I'm trying to live. That's just not true. So what was it that happened that kind of gave you the strength to just say, you know what? I'm done with this story.
Let me tell you this right now. I always, that's one of my things I always ask is, what's the story you're telling yourself? Right? How many of us have said this? My sister, I use her example because I'm always like, don't you say that anymore? Because she'll say, well, I've never did that, so my children would never be able to do that. I've never had that. My mama always did that, or we've always done, well, they've always done that. Why can't you? Do you want to do something different? Yes. Well, what's stopping you? And usually nobody can, they realize it's them.
Right.
So sometimes it really is the ask. But then really, if we're afraid of moving forward somewhere, because usually it's fear. It's a fear. Because that depression is anger turned inside. Right?
Exactly.
Right? You angry about the state of your life. You angry about a missed opportunity. You're angry at yourself for allowing something to happen, because everything that happens to us, it happens for us, but it happened to us because we made a conscious decision to do something.
Exactly. Or ignore something.
Or ignore
just
something.
Let it keep going. And yeah.
Yes, you knew. Look. How many of us as young people did some stuff and was ended up in some crazy places? We knew on our way there, as Spidey's senses was tingling, and maybe I shouldn't go in the house. You know what I'm saying? But we went up in there. Next thing you fight to get out of the house. But look, some fight break out. But you knew you wasn't supposed to be in there.
So true.
Saying, you know it. So I'm telling you, I take them through the steps. One, I'm going to tell you, I tell them, none of my clients, none of the people I talk with, anyone, my folks listening right now, until you decide that I'm going to break this trend in my family, right? Until you decide I'm on something different. Until you said I had enough. Right? Until it's a decision. I promise you, change your mind, change an action, you change the circumstances, period.
Yeah.
And I like to use the example, right? I took this training, it was called Think into Results, and it talked about the mind. Right, the body, the mind, it's all the subconscious and the conscious is technically all through our body, but think of it as the mind. When we think about the mind, if I said to you, I said, hey, so what color is your front door?
White.
What color is your refrigerator?
Gray.
Is it stainless steel?
Yeah.
Does it have 2 doors or 1 door?
2 doors.
And is it up and bottom and top and bottom?
It's top, and then you got a drawer underneath the 2 doors that's for refrigerated, and then we have a drawer for the freezer.
So you have 2 doors open out like this?
Right.
Okay. Now, on which side of the 2 doors open up, which side is like the freezer? It's like a freezer side or a refrigerator side kind of.
Yeah, see, our freezer is at the bottom.
At the bottom.
It's one of those new things. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So you pull the drawer out and get the freezer. Yeah.
So which side has like the crisp? You know what I mean? Like you put your apples
on the left side.
Now, when I said that, did you go to it in your mind? Did you have to go like?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the reality. I'm going to tell you that everything we do is doing with the mind. I used to say junk in, junk out, but Les Brown said negative. Junk in, junk in stays in. It don't come out, right? Oh. So I'm going to tell you that I read a lot. And you asked me, how did I overcome that? I researched, and I was like, okay, I don't even know. I heard somebody say one time that whatever that you want to be like, wherever you want to be in life, Okay, if you want to be there before you get there, not to fake it until you make it, but if you can't see yourself already there, you'll never get there. So you got to start already. If you want to be a successful, or you want to be a prominent figure, or you want to be whatever you want to be, you have to start looking it, behaving it, walking the talk, and look and being that person already. Because if you're not, if you can't see it, you will not ever achieve it. I mean, you got to at least see it in your mind.
Yeah.
And so once I learned that thing, I was like, okay, well, let me try this. So I mean, it was little things I was trying, like, okay, well, let me just see. Because I was, because I felt like people were putting me in a box, like she was just this little girl that grew up in the little projects, and she had a baby, right? And so, how about, and I was great, I was come rising to it, right? So I said, well, what about, I want to be more professional. How about I start dressing more professional? How about I start being a little bit more, just presenting myself a little more professionally? Bam. Just just that one little thing, all of a sudden people treated me differently.
So true.
Right? And it was like little things. I mean, little, and then I was like, and so then people started taking me more seriously, and then opportunities, and then I started believing in myself, because one thing, if you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you can be, you just present better.
Yeah.
So those things. But now I will tell you, let me get back to this mind. What I learned, now think about what is a picture, just imagine a little stick man. Because here's the deal. We are visual people.
Right.
If we can't see it, it's hard. We just can't wrap our head around it.
Right.
So they came up with this little stick figure, so you can just imagine the mind. This is doing so in this picture, the stick figure, imagine a big head with that's the mind. But imagine a vertical line, right? A line going across the center of it.
Okay.
The top part is your conscious mind.
Okay.
Where you're thinking, where rest of your critical thinking's going on. The lower half is your subconscious. Now, remember, your subconscious is the thing that, if you're watching TV, that's the one, that's what you're feeding. You're not feeding your conscious mind, you're feeding your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is where your actions, which your subconscious mind tells your conscious mind what you can and cannot do. But remember, your subconscious mind doesn't know a lie from the truth.
Because it's nonverbal.
Correct. So if you're saying, so if you tell your subconscious mind, I am successful, I am this, I am that, then that's all it's being fed. And I can ride. Look, if you can't swim, but you tell your subconscious mind, I can swim, I can swim, I can swim. It tells your conscious mind you can swim, and when you get in the water, you will swim. But and if you don't believe me, think about this. Think about a time that you set out your mouth that you were going to do something, that you were confident in it, but you didn't believe it, like kind of in your subconscious mind, in your back of your mind, you ain't really believe you could do that thing. But when it came time to move on it, just when you was getting ready to go out there, and I use the example of a speaker. I can speak in front of people. People tell me I'm a good talker. Until they put you out in front of that crowd, and then you get ready to have a fit, like, oh my God, can I do? You are sweating bullets, you fumbling and bumbling, and your mind tells you I can't do it. All of a sudden you gotta go to the bathroom. All of a sudden you're sick. All of a sudden you can't make it. It's all these things. It's because your subconscious mind said, "Now, girl, you know you can't do that. We ain't never did that before. Remember that time when you got up there and you fumbled and bumbled? You're not good at this." You follow what I'm saying? You got to tell it something different. Look, and the way to shut the subconscious mind down about whatever it is, if you want to be a speaker, I'm gonna tell you right now, to be a speaker, the only thing you need to do is get the skills. The only thing the difference between me and somebody that's not, and matter of fact, not even a speaker, a messenger, because you just providing the message.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the word right there.
You're just providing the message.
Get caught up in who they are. It's the message that's important. But yeah, go right on.
You're just bringing the message. And so the only difference is you're going to go and get what you need. What is it that you need to make you feel confident about standing up in front of people? Listen, I talk fast. And all my life, people have said, "Girl, you talk too fast. You talk fast." And so that was a hindrance for me.
Yeah.
Right? Until one person said, "Girl, you don't talk fast. People listen slow. I said, I heard that. And then when I noticed that some of my favorite speakers, or first motivational speakers,
They
they
talk
speak
fast.
right. And how about this? When I'm in training, when I've been to training, I'm talking Les Brown, Lisa Nichols. I trained all of them. Right? Here's what I'm telling. They all tell everybody, get some energy, pick it up. They never had to tell me to pick it up because I came in with the fire. This is how I talk, right? But what I learned was, okay, you have to speak a little rapido, right? But here's the deal. Bring it down, know when to go up, bring it down, and remember, and just check in. Like if I'm speaking to a crowd, you're going to get there early anyway to kind of check the temperature of the room and get to know folks. I'm going to find somebody. So I'm going to be like, yep, Stephanie, girl, I see you sitting in the front. And then listen, if I get excited and I start talking a little fast, if I start talking fast and y'all like, wait a minute now, to train and jump up off the tracks, I want you to do like this. Right,
so
bring that thing down.
But people will ask though. That's the thing. I'm gonna tell you, people can talk fast, but if they say a word that hits me, a phrase or something, I'm gonna catch that.
Yes,
and then I'll go back and say, "You said this. Can you elaborate?" So yeah, if people are hungry and ready, they're gonna catch what you're talking about.
And this is what I learned because. And I learned this because the teachers, half the time, it's not that they didn't hear it. It's just they couldn't get over you said it so fast. Like, wow, you ran that down like right now. Don't get me wrong. My dad, God rest his soul, he talked really quickly. And only people that could understand him was my mother and myself. And they were divorced. And my mother would be like, I'll be sitting there. My sister's like, you understand what Dad's talking about? I said every word.
My father-in-law is the same way, but my husband talks fast. Yeah.
Right. But you can understand them. And after
sometimes.
Sometimes he talks real fast. Wait a minute, he must talk faster than me. But listen,
I'm joking. I can understand them though.
Yes,
but for a while I couldn't though. Yeah.
My husband says sometimes he was like, don't be fast talking me. I'll be looking at him like, I'm not fast talking. Boy, you better get out of here. But it's the thing. But at the same time, I learned, like I'm telling you, if you see me talking, right, you'll see I can speed it up, then I'll slow it down. And you also gotta know your audience.
Yeah.
It's some people you can't bring all that energy is too much.
Yeah.
And so you got to bring it all the way down here. But even that, I'm authentic. And I'll say, now I'm gonna tell you all right now, I am a ball of fire. And right now, I'm getting ready to explode because y'all won't let me jump out these shoes. I said, but but they crack up because see, first of all, they all button up and tight. They needed somebody to just say, I was like, so if stuff start coming out my ears and my eyes, and I just start amping it up, and it's too much for y'all just start fanning yourself. I said, because I'm not going to be able to be here for more than 30 minutes without letting this thing out. So
I love it. That is the truth though. But that is really, it is such a breath of fresh air to hear you talking about this because so often people are not passionate. When you know your message, you can have all those other things. I think that's what happened. Like we were talking about being on Clubhouse and so many people, they don't really know their message. And so they're trying to be like this person and that person. But when you know what it is, what your message is, who you're supposed to serve, you can have all this fun doing all these other things.
Listen, and hear me well. I was all one day. I was like, who's my people? And I had different coaches, and they were like, listen, who's your avatar? Like, who are the people you talk? I know it's women.
Right.
But you can't serve all these women. Like who are your, what they call them, your who are you super serving? Right? Matter of fact, my girl, I gotta reach over here. Let me tell you right now.
Girl, they gotta make it difficult so you can pay them to tell them to
I'm
tell
gonna
you
show you
what
one.
you already knew.
I gotta show you one about. I gotta show you one of my coaches who is the bomb.com, and she the one that was like, listen, she give it away, and she, one of the I have many speakers. This one right here, Quinn Conyers.
Okay.
Quinn's the bomb. Quinn was like, listen, who you super serve? Quinn tell you straight up, she don't care. She don't care. She said I serve black women entrepreneurs. Period. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
That she was like that are and speakers. And matter of fact, she said they're not afraid to speak. They want to be great speakers. She was like, but she said, and if you are somebody that is afraid to speak, but you want to speak, she said, I'm not the coach for you. Mm. Somebody else is that can teach you how to be a speaker. She teaches people that are not afraid to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But you see how she put it right? Boom, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And she was the one it was the very one that was like, Stephanie. And I met her on Clubhouse. She was like, Stephanie, you got Krista, but you said you're doing this, you're doing that, but which one? And I was like, who do you really get? I said, who are you really passionate about? Like what particular group? And I was like, women who've experienced trauma. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And I super serve, and she said, I super serve women who've experienced trauma who were teen parents.
Wow.
You a teen parent. I'm giving you, listen, I'm getting ready to tell you that boulder in front of you is nothing but some sand in your eye. We get ready to blow. Just like grandma did. Spitting all in your eyes. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Time to get it out. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever just wished that you knew what you know now 20 years ago?
Isn't that the truth? So true. That's what I tell my kids. I'm like, look, Josiah was named king at age 8. So he had to have some wisdom. Okay. He was listening to the right person at the right time. Can you imagine being that young and have an anointing like that? I mean, but it's all in God's time.
It really is. Right. You sound like me with I told my sister the day, I said, look, and I have women that we pray together and we talk Bible and they crack up because my version is always just pure comedy. They're like, girl, but you know what? I talk with the Bible the way that it makes it clear to me. Mm-hmm. And I said, some folks we always talk about the faith of the mustard seed. I said, I'm gonna need some of us to have the faith, to stop having, not to have that sometimey faith. Like, look, like the fishermen on the boat and they saw Jesus and Jesus said, come on, walk on out here.
Right.
I said, first they step out there, everything like, okay, Jesus, they walking like a newborn baby. But then right in the middle of that, they lost the faith. Right. And down in the water you go. I said, we got to stop operating in our own lives like that. We have to believe in ourselves. We got to believe that we can truly walk on the water and make it over there to the Savior.
Well, what got me? Somebody, I did a podcast interview and they said one thing about that scripture about the walking on water is that doubt came about something they were already doing.
This is what I'm saying.
You are doing what your doubt is telling you can't do, and you listening to that.
Baby, the minute I said, and it was my brother, I was like, let me get this straight now. The minute my foot hit the water and I was actually walking, baby, I'd be like, look at me. Right. My eyes, but see, first of all, eyes on God. Just like when you drive, how when you first learn how to drive. Right. When you learn how to drive now, just look, full disclosure, I retired as a commander from our local police department. Yep. Girl, I was the second highest, and not proud of the fact it was just that I hope that right now they're going to do better. But I was the second highest ranking African American female in the whole agency when I retired. That the highest ranking was the chief of police was a female. Right. Wow. Now I said we got to do better. So I told when you leave, please make it better than what it was when I was there. But even when you're learning how to drive, And I remember learning how to, drive the police car, and even but learning how to drive, they tell you to look beyond. You not to look at the lines because you will go
Right.
toward the lines. You're supposed to look above look all the way up there. Cars, lamps, and if you look that way, you will drive just fine. You can see your peripherals. You can see.
Mm-hmm.
You will drive so much better. God said, He said, keep your eyes. I'd have been just like driving. My eyes would have been right on Jesus. I'd have walked.
So
I might have
true.
ran on over there. I was running so hard, like I just got my license. Listen, look. And after that, I was thinking I could teach everybody. Look, keep your eyes on Jesus. You know what I mean?
So true. I mean, and it's so funny. We could say this now because, we didn't experience that. But, we walking on water on some of our situations. It's
Yes.
the same thing. But,
The
we lose
same
our faith.
thing. Keep
Yeah.
your eye on keep your eyes. They say
Mm-hmm.
your goal, your dream is just a dream until you put it into action and a plan. You start moving on it, right? So now we're in motion. It's a goal. And I'm telling you, if I got it written down, all right, and I mean written down, and I might say, all right, I want to do XYZ. All right, now
Mm-hmm.
you know you want to do it. How you gonna do it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking literally, when I'm talking to my clients, I'm really going down, okay, in the next 90 days, what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what have you already tried? All right. And what could stop you from moving to the next step?
So
Okay.
true.
And how can we remove, we got to, sometimes you just got to go there.
So,
It's
why? Because they don't have the discipline to keep moving when they get an obstacle. See, and I look at just this conversation is so good because, when you have your past and you have moved past it to where it doesn't define you, it's no, like I talked to people earlier, I could talk about depression like the sky is blue because I'm not depressed anymore.
right.
Right. But I understand that journey and I can speak to that pain because I'm over that, but it's when we still kind of got, oh, my arm is still a little sensitive. Don't touch me on my arm now.
Right.
That's when you kind of lose your power because someone said I speak from my scars rather than my wounds.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that. That's right up there with I'm gonna write that one down, guys. Look, that's right up there with doggone Lester's daggone thing, which said that most people are not living their dreams because they're so busy living their fears.
Yeah.
And that was me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, look, well, I can't be a speaker because that's I talk too fast. I can't be a coach because who gonna want me to be a coach when I have all these things? Well, let me tell you right now, listen. The best pastors they came from some shenanigans. Baby, them things, if the pastor, if he or she ain't up in the pulpit, at least talking about one time about y'all, I ain't always been this sanctified, then I don't even want you talking to me, right? I need to know you've been through something. I want you to tell me you know something about some brown liquor. I want you to tell me that don't sleep. Listen, and if you want to really get me going, if you say that don't think I don't know about some take your earrings out and put some Vaseline on, I would really fall out on the floor. But I need to know that you are real, and that's what's so true about, that's one of the things that makes me so authentic. It's just I am who I am, but I can tell you where I've been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not passing any judgment on you because that girl, she's still here.
So true. And it's a part of who you are. That's the thing. I've learned that, because I used to wear these masks. My husband's a pastor, by the way.
Baby, he laying that word.
So I had to live behind these masks, at church. I had this one and, in the community, this one and all these kids. I had another one. And I just said, you know what? This is exhausting trying to be all things to all people. I'm done with that. And once you can embrace that and understand that it was lessons that you learn based on your disobedience. And once I learned that, I was like, okay, I can really take on whatever you're throwing at me because I know now I chose
Right.
to do these things. They didn't happen to me. I had a part in it. And
And,
so my power was so, I felt so empowered. It's like, hey, and nobody knows your story unless you tell them.
and the truth. And but let me tell you something else. Think about, and this is the thing. Think about churches full of what? Women, full of
Mm-hmm.
women, right? Everybody got a story.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, I don't care how much you dress it up and put perfume on it. Everybody got a story, right?
So true.
They sitting up in them pews, and baby, they are praising and thanking the Lord that they are not who they used to be, just like everybody else.
Amen.
And it's nothing like the person, sometimes you go to church and you feel like, they say if the word, and you're really in a good place, if somehow you're like that, they all up on my feet. I know I've said, if that pastor don't get up off my toes,
Right.
right? But look, baby, you can pass and preach, you on my street, right? But here's the deal. They are looking for somebody, something. That's why we're going. We're going to release it. We're going where there's no judgment. And how
So true.
awesome would it be? Because I speak to more church groups and
Yeah.
love it, because
Well,
it's like,
they say
listen,
it's a hospital.
it's a
People get
hospital.
people get it wrong. It's a hospital.
It is. They come in there to get medication, to get fixed, to get
Exactly.
surgery. Somebody come in, look, operate on me. And look,
Exactly.
and if you are, I'm going to tell you right now, the women's group, what saved my life for real is literally I had a job. I was a receptionist, and I was trying to find my way. I'm lost. I'm trying to find my way. And the guy that did the cleaning, he had his own business. So it
Mm-hmm.
was his own business, but he was a cleaning guy. He stopped by one day, and now he was also a pastor, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson. And he invited me to his Bible study with he and his family.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, at this point, I mean, I knew Jesus for myself, but I was feeling like I shouldn't go. I can't go to church because people kind of looking at me or whatever. And I went
Mm-hmm.
to this Bible study, and he told me that Jesus loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie, I want you to, Jesus loves you just like you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jesus loved you before you even was even born. And I was like, Jesus loved me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even, from there, taught me how to pray for myself
Mm-hmm.
and to how to lean on my strength. And then I just grew. I just grew,
Yeah.
because sometimes you've got to find your way out. So you got to look, first
Yeah.
and foremost, here's the deal. You got to believe in something bigger than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think for 1 second that you're gonna come through, or look, because it really is, life is happening to you. Look, no, look for you. Not as
Mm-hmm.
Tony Robbins say, for you,
Mm-hmm.
not to you. But in order to get on the other side of anything, you first gotta, say, you know what, give it away, because you cannot
Amen.
do it. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
could have done it, you wouldn't be in the predicament. You need
It's
some
so
help,
true. Mm-hmm.
right? And then as something that later on in life, right after, look, domestic violence almost took my life. Then I
Mm-hmm.
thought I also could handle, just go pray about it. Let me tell y'all right now, we're gonna need to do a little bit more than pray. When you've had matters of the mind and when you've experienced trauma to the
Yeah.
extent where somebody tried to take your life, or you've had something, you feel so depressed, you have got to go and have counseling.
So true.
Go
Well,
see the
and
professional.
one thing I want to talk about too really quickly, because we passed our time, and I appreciate you sharing, because I mean, I feel like, look, I done met a sister from another mister. Okay,
I
like,
appreciate
look,
you.
we cousins at a family reunion. That's what I feel. But um the domestic violence piece, I think it's important to kind of stop there for a minute, because people don't go into relationships saying, oh, I want somebody to abuse me, or it's talk to us about how that transformed, because it didn't start that way.
No, and
So
I'm gonna, yeah, it
yeah.
doesn't. And let me just say this: one, self-esteem. It's
Mm,
self-esteem, plain and simple. But here's the deal: we all deal with self-esteem. It never goes away. We just always have to work on it, right?
exactly.
As we get older and more mature, we just be able to navigate a little faster. But when you're
Hmm.
young and you just have one traumatic incident after the other. You are looking for love in all the wrong places. You
Yeah.
are holding on to something. And also if you grew up like I did, you may have thought that what love looked like, this is what happens to everybody.
Right.
Love's not supposed to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
A person that hits you and beats on you and screams at you and calls you, they do not, that's not love.
Right.
That's not love at all. That is abuse.
Mhm.
And let me tell you that that abuse is not just physical, because that's the
Mhm.
thing I run into a lot. I wrote a book. I wrote a book, How My Part-Time Job Saved My Life. A true
Amen.
story of overcoming victory. I'm overcoming and living a victorious life. But here's
Mhm.
the deal. And guess what? I didn't write the book because I wanted to write a book. I wrote the book because I realized the trauma. I thought I was over it. I thought I didn't need to deal with it. I didn't need to go see a therapist. But I was in the middle. I was a grown adult in a career,
Wow.
and was triggered. Didn't even know I had a trigger, and almost just ruined my life. Went to
Wow.
see a therapist, and the therapist said, "Do you journal? I mean, do you write? What do you do? How do you release?" I said, "Well, I journal." And I've been journaling, and different people. When I just kind of, you had to kind of share with like one lady, and I called her Maya Angelou.
Mhm.
Look, Mother Hilliard. She was like, "Stephanie, your story will change people's lives. You cannot keep that to you." I was like, "What? I can't tell anybody that." So I kept it to myself, and then it became a thing. So
Yeah.
I wrote the book to release myself from it. Because I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell you right now, the biggest fear that I didn't even know was my biggest fear was that somebody was gonna find out about my story.
Right. The skeleton in the closet. Mm.
Oh my gosh. And it was like,
Mhm.
I didn't want anybody to even talk about it. Like it was, I mean, it was significant. Like,
Right.
like how are you even police? Right? Somebody could
Mhm.
murder you, that. And so I want to tell you this. I am always, so I can almost, whenever I'm talking, I will say there's three different types of crowds in the room. You got the
Mm.
folks that's on the right, like some on the right side. They're looking at me as I'm speaking, and they just cannot relate because they've never experienced like
Mhm.
domestic violence or seen it. They've never experienced it. This is too much for them. They not to the level I'm talking about. They can't
Mhm.
comprehend that this person been through what I'm telling you I've been through, right?
Right.
The people in the center, they and I'm just using this as an analogy, right? The people
Exactly.
in the center, they can relate. They know exactly what I'm talking about, but they are sitting there with the great pretenders. They don't want nobody to know their story, so they're not moving. They are
Mhm.
frozen. They're not
Mhm.
crying. They're just looking. They're
Mhm.
frozen stiff, afraid that they breathe, they're going to break into a million pieces, right? Then you got the people on the left. They are amen like they at church service. You better girl, she talking about me. That's my story, right? And they're the ones that's gonna stop me at the stage and be like, "Oh my God, you were telling my story." They are
Yeah.
crying.
Mhm.
You see,
Mhm.
and so here's the deal. They say, "Who were you talking to?" I was talking to all of them
Right.
because the people over here that just can't relate. You may one day experience it. You
Mhm.
may find somebody. You may be the boss of somebody, and you trying to figure out when they come in and tell you got a black eye, and you like, "What happened to your eye?" "Oh, I ran to a cupboard." You know that's a complete lie,
Right.
right? And
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you like some of the things you may want to do to help that person, right?
Mhm.
One, don't just act like you don't see it.
Mhm.
Two, ask some questions. This is
Mhm.
how I'm telling you, go ahead and be nosy.
Yeah.
Go ahead and be nosy. Be in the business. And with all these 1-800 numbers and stuff going on, because now we got a whole national hotline.
Mhm.
Google it, call somebody, report this. Keep
Yeah.
slipping a little. Just do what you can. Just stay up in it and try to find a way to help them to become safe because they may die.
Mhm.
Nationally, they say in the United States, 1 in 3 people are assaulted or assaulted in intimate relationships. 1 in 3. So the
Mm.
three of us in the room, one of us would have been the one,
Wow.
right? So let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
I taught me how you get there. It just starts out real slow, and it's just like it's not even something you like. I wonder how it happened. No, it happens just like they say it happens. This is a little bit of chipping at your little, first the way they talk to you, kind of push you away, keep you away from your family, and it is your deal breakers get short. Like you just kind of tolerate anything. You like, oh, he didn't mean it. I'm sorry, and then of course it was your fault if you didn't make me mad, if you
Mm-hmm.
didn't do that, if you if the if you're unsure if that is you, write down your pros and your cons.
Mm-hmm.
If the pros outweigh the cons, you might be all right. If the
Mm-hmm.
cons outweigh the pros, get out when it's safe to do so.
Yeah.
And tell a trusted somebody. You just need one good trusted person, and you good. The problem is we don't
Mm-hmm.
talk to anybody
So
because
true.
we are ashamed. We are ashamed.
Well, and so talk to us a little bit about getting away from your family. Because some people, they're like, how could that happen? What are some things that they do? Because, you have teenagers, which is what you're saying, you started out as a teen. What are some things that they do to kind of get you away from your family?
Look, think of it how the same thing that people do to get folks to join gangs.
Mm,
They prey on your fears. I'm the
mm,
only one that love you. You see how
mhm.
they talk to you? I love you, and they stand up for you against them. So now you are unified force against those people.
That already love you, which is
Got you.
crazy.
Exactly. And then look, I got you back. I got you. And just
Mhm,
little things, just like the gang members that now they on social media finding people because they just look. My parents get on my nerves. Man, what? I wouldn't treat you. I wouldn't be like that. It's the
mhm.
same like child molesters. A same approach. They sucking you in with one thing, but you're getting punched in the face with one thing, but they're giving you flowers in the other hand.
Exactly.
You follow what I'm saying? So you
Yeah,
got to understand. Listen, a fist and a flower, you can't have both.
yeah.
If they're punching you, they're putting their hands on you, talking any kind of way, it is not love.
Mm,
Period.
mhm.
Oh, I got to jump off, y'all. It
All
is 6.
right.
My show starts it right now at 6. That's probably why somebody beeping my phone. But wait a
Okay.
minute, this is what I want you to do. You listen, if anybody want to reach me, you can reach me everywhere as Speaker Stephanie. I will tell you that if you are somebody experiencing any trauma, I promise you, one, you need somebody to listen to. You need somebody to listen to you. You can call me and anybody else but you to find a trusted person, somebody that you trust, somebody that you know. Go to your pastor, go to
Mhm,
someone, go to a therapist, but you've got to talk about. Listen, they got a 1-800 number. Google it.
mhm,
Call them, and then they will give you there's a whole safety plan. Because some people they
mhm,
can just pack their clothes and leave. For some people, it is dangerous. The most dangerous time for a person to leave a relationship is for a person that's in those type of relationships is when they try to leave. So get some
mhm,
help, work it out. But whatever you do, and particularly if you have children, get yourself and your children to safety for no other reason. Do it for your children. And remember, even after all of that, that doesn't define you.
mhm.
That was a moment in your life that you experienced. So now you start walking toward being a victor because the moment it's over, you are no longer a victim. My name
Amen.
is Stephanie Wall, and I thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Love you, girl. I mean,
Thank you.
this
Love
is
you back.
fun. We got
We
to have
shall
a
chat
part two.
again. All right.
All
All
right.
right.
We want to thank y'all for watching. Thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie. And we'll let you go to your show, okay?
All right. All right. Bye bye.
Bye. All right. So that was just a great interview. Just want to tell you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. That was just some great content. Again, the importance about knowing how you deserve to be treated, the importance of really reaching out if you feel that you know somebody or you are somebody that is in an unsafe place. Talk to somebody, get help. So thank you guys so much for watching and look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Bye for now.